Have you ever felt like your paycheck just disappeared? Suddenly, you're scrambling to figure out how to make ends meet. Now, imagine that happening to a whole community. Schools shutting down, businesses delaying paychecks, and families waiting for help that never comes. You won't believe it, but this story isn't just about you. It's about all of us. And it all starts with a decision made in Washington, D.C. The real impact? It's happening right in your neighborhood. Stick around. You'll want to hear this. Let's talk about a small town in the Midwest. Last year, they were supposed to get money to fix a crumbling bridge, the main road in and out of town. That bridge? It connected kids to their schools, families to hospitals, and farmers to markets. But the money was frozen, stuck in the middle of a government financial review. The bridge stayed broken, and so did the town's daily life. Parents worried about their kids' safety, businesses lost customers, and frustration turned into helplessness. It's not just this town. Financial freezes like this cause a ripple effect, quietly but powerfully affecting millions of people. From delayed student loans to stopped public works projects, these decisions made at the highest levels end up touching our most personal spaces. This story begins with the Trump administration, which introduced financial freezes to reevaluate spending and, in their words, cut unnecessary expenses. On one side, you have government leaders arguing for fiscal responsibility, trying to make sure taxpayer money isn't wasted. On the other side, you have communities, like the one with the broken bridge, waiting endlessly for decisions. But who gets hurt the most? People like you and me. Families needing food assistance, students waiting for loan approvals, and small businesses counting on federal grants. These freezes don't just stop money, they stop momentum. What exactly is a financial freeze? In simple terms, it's when the government pauses spending in certain areas to review or reallocate budgets. It might sound like a good idea, after all, nobody wants wasteful spending, but here's the catch. When money stops flowing, so does progress. One surprising fact: during the 2018 to 2019 government shutdown, the longest in U.S. history, over 800,000 federal workers went without pay. Some even had to turn to food banks. Imagine being in their shoes, working hard every day but unsure if you'll get paid at the end of the month. But here's the thing, these events didn't just matter back then. They still matter today. The aftershocks of those freezes are still felt in communities trying to rebuild what was paused or lost. Let's zoom in on one community hit hard by these freezes. A school district in Arizona had plans to expand classrooms and hire more teachers, funded by federal grants. But when the funds were frozen, those plans came to a screeching halt. For parents, this meant overcrowded classrooms and fewer resources for their kids. For teachers, it meant doing more with less. And for students, it meant feeling left behind. Now, picture that same story happening all over the country. In urban areas, waiting for public transit updates. In rural towns, depending on agriculture subsidies. And in hospitals, relying on government-backed programs. These freezes show us how decisions made far away ripple into our living rooms, schools, and workplaces. They remind us that government policies aren't just abstract ideas, they're personal. So how does this affect you? Here's the truth. Whether you've noticed it or not, financial freezes create ripple effects that touch everyone. Maybe your commute took longer because a road repair was delayed. Maybe your cousin is waiting for a loan to open their dream business. Or maybe your community is still struggling to recover from cuts that were never reversed. But here's the silver lining. Awareness is power. The more we understand these policies, the more we can hold leaders accountable and demand change. We can start by sharing stories, speaking up for our communities, and demanding transparency in how taxpayer money is managed. The next time you hear about a financial freeze, remember, it's not just about numbers on a budget. It's about people. It's about us. And the more we care, the more we can make a difference. If this story moved you, share it. Talk to your friends, your family, your community. Let's start a conversation about how we can make sure that government decisions work for all of us, not just a select few. Because when Washington decides to freeze, it's the rest of us who feel the chill.